The most heartbreaking thing that can ever happen to a woman is not heartbreak. It is waking up at 38, waking up at 40, and realizing that you as a woman cooperated with your own regret. And the truth is, somehow nobody warns women early enough about these things because it sounds harsh, but silence is more expensive than truth. And there are so many lessons we women do not learn early, not because we are incapable of learning, but we were not trained to see those patterns. So they become non-existent to us until we find ourselves in situations that require us knowing those patterns. And this is not an attack on anybody, this is not to shame you, it's just an intervention. So if you're 20 plus, if you're in your 20s, you're early, this is foresight for you. And if you're in your 30s, you will most definitely recognize one or two of these things I'm about to mention. So welcome to Evolve Daily. I'm excited to have you back, and today we are talking about lessons women learn late. I'll dive straight into the first one. We will talk about relationship and partner selection. Now, let us start where women are conditioned to invest first: romance. Yeah, that's where women are conditioned, trained to invest first. Sometimes we confuse chemistry with compatibility. Oh, he gives me butterflies. Look, giving you butterflies is not a qualification. Butterflies is not a qualification for you to select a partner. It is not a prerequisite in selecting a partner, in who you give your heart to, who you invest your energy in emotionally. Emotional intensity will always feel like alignment, but love, romance, relationship is built on character, not adrenaline rush. The fact that, oh, he makes you so giddy is not an excuse, or is not a reason to say, okay, I can date this person, I can be a wife to this person. That should not even come in when you're choosing a partner. But sadly, we sometimes always lean towards the fact that, oh, he gives me butterflies, he's so good for my mental health, it's good for my nervous system, and then we forget to check other things, forget to look at his character, forget to look at the values. Does your value and his values align? Because that's what you'll be living on in the relationship, not the fact that he gave you butterflies. And another point is, we sometimes ignore red flags because of potential, or what he can be, what he cannot be. Potential is only projection. It is a check that can never be cashed at the bank. It can never ever be cashed, because that is not the reality. That is something that might likely happen in the future or might not happen. So you can never bank on potential to choose a partner. You can just observe the character. What is he like? What does he do? What are the patterns that he lives by? What are the structures that he lives by? And sometimes we women are thought to see who a man could be. Oh, he can be the good president in the next coming years, instead of who he is currently and consistently. One mistake we also make is believing love can reform character. That is a joke of this century. And I don't know who told that joke, but that's a joke of the century. It is impossible for love to reform a person's character. Instead, love reveals character. It reveals who this person truly is. And if you being in a relationship with that person is causing you suffering, that is not transformation. You will soon lose yourself. That is identity erosion gradually building. And it will get to the point where you will lose yourself and you will not know it. Why? Because you didn't check the relevant criteria. You're fixated on the fantasies instead of reality. Next is over investing emotionally before assessing the man. Attachment too early attachment, rapid attachment before assessment is self-sabotage. And trust me, if that's where you're sowing, you're going to reap it, and you're going to reap it really hard. Your healing will be a very long process. You should keep your emotions aside and introduce logical and critical thinking before you decide to date a person, before you decide to settle with a person. Men think logically, so you should borrow the way men think logically and keep the emotions aside. Sometime later you can consider the emotions, but for now, put your cards together. Will everything work out logically, not emotionally? And many a times we women bond before we even get the chance to evaluate, and that is a suicide mission. Trust me when I say your healing will be long, it will be long. Next is staying because leaving costs a lot. You think because, oh, you've been there for too long. And so goddamn what? The time, the money, effort on whatever you invested in that relationship is not a reason to invest more. Get up and leave. I know it is difficult, but you have to get up and leave. You know, some women stay not because they feel good, not because they want to stay, but because if they get up and leave, they feel like, oh, they've miscalculated. They've invested their time and energy in something that is yielding nothing to them. So there's so much shame that they feel. And I don't think you should feel shame if you're making that decision to leave. Get up and leave. Fine, you invested 5 years and it's not working. It's okay. You invested 3 years. It's not. You can get up and leave and get your life together, and that should not be a thing of shame. Attraction is emotional, but commitment is strategic. And most women are trained to master the first and neglect the second, which is so wrong on so many levels. Think like a man. Men think logically. Look, they weigh the options that they have. Men will always go for structure. Men will always go for structure. They don't put emotions first. They put logic first, and emotions will come later. But women put emotions first. So you should borrow the thinking of a man. Think logically, and then we can talk about emotions later. The next one that we don't learn early is time and biological trade-offs. Like, time is uncomfortable because it does not negotiate. Never. When you're 20, 5 years looks like a long time. But when you're in your 30s, 5 years will just move along so fast. And we think that we have infinite time. That is a rookie's mistake. We do not have time. Ladies, we do not have time. You don't see time passing until it has already passed. We fall into the trap of delaying major life choices. Why? Because we think, oh, I have time. That's a rookie's mistake. Delay is not neutral. If you're delaying yourself, you're not choosing strategically. And when you drift strategically, you will lose a lot of time. You didn't plan with the time that you had. You thought, okay, if I don't do this year, I can do it next year. You know, the funny thing is sometimes we women, we do not plan in decades. Plan 10 years from now. Okay, let's not go too far. Plan yearly. This year, this is what I want to achieve. Next year, in the next 2 years, this is where I want to be. In the next 5 years, it gives you a direction, right? So you have your life scripted on paper, and you know the pattern, you know the things that you're supposed to do to achieve every single goal on that piece of paper. We don't have time. And the truth is, time compounds. Whether you act or you do not act, time compounds. And this is not to put fire under your seat or make you scared. No, this is physics. Biology has timelines, so does opportunity. So you have to make the most out of it. Plan your life. Another issue, but I think I see gradual changes in financial autonomy. Romance is powerful, but money is more powerful. Don't let nobody deceive you. Romance is powerful, but money is much more powerful. Money gives you options. Money gives you leverage. So as a woman, one thing you should have and have in abundance is money. And we sometimes are forced to rely on emotional security over financial independence. Security without ownership is rented stability. And tell me, when your rent expires, do you have what it takes to renew that rent? Do you? If somebody funds your comfort, they will influence every single choice that you make. And what happens when they no longer want to fund your comfort? What do? And sadly, some people don't wake up and want to be financially literate. They leave the responsibility of funding their comforts in the hands of another person. And that means your choices are still being influenced and dictated by somebody, so much so that if they tell you to jump, because you cannot afford the lifestyle that they give you, you will ask them how high they want you to jump. And you will jump. Why? Because they're funding your comfort. So if you can fund your comfort, it gives you a whole lot of choices. You have things you will not take, things you will not entertain. So financial literacy is non-negotiable. You should know about money, have investment. Money grows when you're not desperate. Start early. And financial literacy cannot be outsourced. You can't tell somebody to learn about money and then they bring the knowledge, split your head into, put it, close your head back, and voila, I know about money. It doesn't work that way, girl. You have to learn. And sometimes we learn when we make mistakes, which is not the best way to learn, but it's really okay. So you can start learning about money, learning how to double your income, how to actually invest. Ignorance feels okay. It feels normal until you need knowledge. Freedom will require resources, Dependence will limit your exit. Dependence will limit your options. So if for anything, don't even glamour to be dependent on anybody, mostly financially. Another lesson we don't learn early is conditioning, your identity, and the way that your mind works, the way you condition yourself. And that is the invisible training. Oh, being the good girl and all the shebang that comes with it. Good girls are praised early, but you see strategic women, they are rewarded. No matter how long it takes, they will always get their reward. So, do you want to be a good girl, receive praises, or you want to be a strategic woman who stands in a position to always receive reward? Why? Because she planned, because she understood herself, because she knew she has an identity, she knows who she is. So, in the absence of money or whatever, that's one thing you can't take away from her identity. And one trap we easily fall into is over apologizing. Why? Tell me why. Give me two reasons you are over apologizing for existing. Give me two reasons you're over apologizing for wanting a good life or putting in the effort to be better, to be a better version of yourself, for lending your voice, for being present. Tell me why you are over apologizing. If you over apologize for existing, people will bill you for it. They'll bill you for the space that you take up. So there's really no point over apologizing. I know the world is male dominated. Really doesn't matter. Don't look at it like that. If you have to take up space, you don't have to apologize. You confidently take up space and you have to matter. Another problem, another thing we don't even learn early is that avoiding conflict does not show that you are the bigger person. It creates suppression. Somebody does something, you don't call them out. Somebody does something, you don't voice it out. Oh, I don't want problem. Oh, I want to be the bigger person. You're suppressing yourself. That will influence the things that you will accommodate. It will influence the things that you will accept. Somebody will talk to you anyhow, and you will take it. Why? Because I don't want problem. Why? Every boundary you don't enforce becomes an expectation. People will wake up and act mad all around you. Why? Because the first time they did it, you did not want them, you didn't call them out. You just, oh, let me be the bigger person and not want problem. You should want problem sometimes. You now lean towards centering the comfort of everybody. You become so good and so accommodating that you wake up and you disappear. We don't see you. We don't know you. We don't hear you. We get nothing from you. Why? You are pampering the ego of another person. You are leaving your space to accommodate another person's comfort. Continue. You wake up one morning and you realize that you built your life around being chosen instead of building your life in such a way that puts you in a position to choose, to be able to make choices. You throw away your self worth because you want attention. Look, attention is cheap, anybody can buy it. Attention is easy to generate, but you see, respect is harder. It's harder to get. And only the bold and courageous people get respected. You throw away your self worth because you want to appeal to people, you want to be desirable. Why do you care so much if people like you or don't like you? Why? I don't think that should even be okay. I think I'm getting mad. But it's okay. You should not throw away your self worth because you want people to desire you. You want people to like you. You shouldn't care that much if they don't like you. I mean, if they don't like you, it's their loss. So they should deal with it. In conclusion, some people tie their relevance to beauty. You tie your confidence to beauty. So if you don't look beautiful in your own standard, you don't feel confident. And if you're tying your relevance to beauty, what happens when you age? We're all going to get old. What happens to you when you age? You start to lose yourself. It becomes a phase of identity erosion. Why? Because you think you're no longer beautiful or you start to age. Beauty is an asset, good, but that should not be the only asset that you depend on to build life for yourself. Work on this. And stop outsourcing your confidence. Why are you outsourcing your confidence? If your confidence depends on the applause of people, silence will destroy you. What will happen when they no longer clap for you? You will feel inadequate. So you should not outsource your confidence. Your confidence should not be dependent on the accolades that people give you. External validation is volatile currency. It doesn't last like that. Finally, the women who learned these lessons early, they look cold. And the women who learned this late become regretful. The difference is awareness, availability of information, willingness to want to learn, willingness to want to grow, willingness to change your life and become a better version of yourself. That is the difference. Nobody is coming to save you from the consequences of your actions or your inactions. Awareness is the only early warning system. And if this made you uncomfortable, good. I like it. Discomfort is better than regret. I will see you in my next video.